How welcome to Bad Music Taste and Other Ways to Ruin Your Life. My name is Dominic.
And my name is Sam. Dominic has our record this week.
This week's record is Dork Rock Cork Rod by the Ergs. This record was first released in 2004, and the copy I have here is an original pressing. Anyways, today we're talking to Aaron Donahue from the Dead Ringers, Penguin Suit, and Experience. How's it going, Aaron?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah, so you of course play in the Dead Ringers. So what was the inception of the band like? Like, how did you guys get started?
So Jason and I, we've known each other ever since like pre-K, pretty much, like just as friends. And then he started playing drums around like third grade. I started playing guitar a little after him. And that's when Experience started. The Dead Ringers like kind of came out of Experience. So we pretty much like, we're doing the cover stuff for a while, and we're still like kind of an Experience, figure out an original sound. And that was always like kind of a difficult thing for us. But me and Jason kind of had our own thing where we both really enjoyed garage punk and that kind of like straightforward kind of raw sound. And Dylan wasn't as much into that. We didn't want to like force that into Experience. So we just kind of decided to do our own thing because like the two of us operated really well together.
Okay, cool.
So obviously you're involved in the music scene, but was this something you'd always wanted to do?
Pretty much like from when I started playing guitar, I'd say so. There's nothing really else that like piqued my interest as much. I really just like enjoyed playing and like recording and just like even listening to music. It's always just been something that's been really close to me. So yeah, pretty much just like, yeah, I kind of got lost there, but you know.
Yeah, what was some of the first stuff you started learning when you like picked up guitar?
The first riff I ever learned was Day Tripper by the Beatles. It was a lot of like classic rock stuff. I was super into AC/DC. I was learning AC/DC songs. My teacher really liked Green Day, so I knew a lot of Green Day songs too. It was a lot of just like straightforward Led Zeppelin kind of like classic rock stuff.
Okay, and going from like classic rock, how did you sort of like switch over to like the sort of garage punk thing?
The band that really got me into punk was Black Flag when Jason showed me. First it was Damage, and then I went back and listened to like pre-Henry stuff and like Nervous Breakdown and Jealous Again and all that stuff. And that sound, I just really resonated with it. It started getting me into other stuff. And then like on the more like garage side of it was King Gizer and the Lizard Wizard. They're like the main band that got me into writing original music. I went and listened to their like first EP and their first album, Willoughby's Beach and 12 Bar Brews, and like that kind of just those two things together, I really liked them. And I like the idea of like bringing together the kind of like psychedelic, more weird sounds into the punk kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, I know you guys are like huge into the Misfits. So how did you first get into like the Misfits and whatnot?
That was from Jason's older brother Dylan. He's like he was into Danzig first. I'm pretty sure their dad was into Danzig, and then that got them into the Misfits. And originally, because we did the Misfits cover set this past Halloween at a show, and we've been trying to do that since like 2019. So it was like learning those songs initially really kind of got me into like hearing them over and over again. Like I just really got into the catchy nature of all of them, especially the early stuff like the Horror Business EP and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You also record for the $1,000 studio.
Yes.
So how'd you first get into like music production, and how did the studio get its name?
Well, that was really from, I'd say, going to Carver. Me, Jason, a couple of our other friends were in the digital instrumental music prime, which was centered around both composition and recording. And that's the first time I ever really got my hands on a DAW and started working on anything like that. And like, I feel like without that, I probably wouldn't, it would have taken me longer at least to kind of get into the whole recording thing. And I just really liked the idea of like a lot of people who produce their own music. Like for a while, King Gizzard produced their own music, like Ty Segall, Jay Retard, that kind of stuff. They all just kind of did it themselves and like crafted their own sound out of it. So I kind of got into that, like, and it just was a matter of picking up a lot of stuff along the way, like a ton of trial and error. And the $1,000 studio, that's a whole, I don't even really know. It was basically, as soon as I was working with just a 2-input interface for a really long time. And then I got 8 inputs, could mic a whole drum kit. And after that, I was like, oh yeah, we got a professional $1,000 studio now. And it just kind of got out of hand with the whole putting $1,000 in front of everything. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like funny because $1,000 isn't really a lot when you're talking about gear. Like when it adds up, like in a studio, it's way more than $1,000. So at the same time, it's like a hyperbole for a lot of money.
Yeah, Holden from Combat showed me like a video you had made where you were like, got a new car. Don't mean to brag or anything, but it was $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much like that.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit before, but you play in a band called Experience. But could you, kind of talk about how you guys got your start?
Yeah, that was just jamming with Jason and his older brother, because his older brother learned guitar before we started learning any instruments. And once we started getting better, like those two would just jam together all the time at the house. And then I started coming in. And in my middle school, there was like this kind of event that they would hold I think it was every month. It was like a thing where kids came after at like nighttime, and there's like a DJ and stuff like that. And I asked the administration, hey, could I play a couple songs with like my friend? We didn't really have a band yet at the time, but we played like 4 songs before the whole thing started. And that was our first real like performance together. Well, actually, no, I got that wrong. Sorry. Before that, Jason and Dylan have a family friend who would have a 4th of July party in their backyard every year. And before I started playing, Jason and Dylan themselves played that backyard party. And we still play that party every year. That was kind of like where we started. It was a lot of backyard parties, kind of just like our parents and their parents' friends getting us places.
Yeah, and it's funny because like the house show is still around. Like even
Yeah.
compared to like 40 years, the house show never really like went away,
Oh,
you
no,
know?
yeah.
And we have a couple earlier we posted something that said if you want to ask Aaron anything,
Yeah.
swipe up with some questions. And these are the two we got. We got one from Jesus, who said, if you had
Yes.
1,000 crab rangoons, what person would you eat them with and why?
If I had 1,000 crab ragoons, I would I'd probably eat them with Tucker Dog, because he really likes our bass player and experienced Tucker Dog. He likes the ragoons a lot. I think he's always good to eat with. If you don't finish your stuff, like normally he'll eat the rest of it, that kind of stuff.
And Max Lewin asked, is mayo an official Dead Ringer staple, and where is the mayo merch?
I wouldn't call it a Dead Ringers staple as much. It's kind of like the $1,000 thing. It's just kind of expanded. Originally, it was like a thing that came out of the whole Tucker character, and like the whole, because the Tucker character really likes mayonnaise. So then that kind of just exploded in itself. We could probably, because we have the split with the super drugs. That's got the artwork has a mayonnaise jar on it with our names. You could probably make that in the